So here is Kaz, aka Renkum Corsair, in the CCI 3-star at River Glen. And coming down the center line, he gave me a pretty nice warm-up. Dressage tends to be his weaker side just because he can have some tension monsters in here. But coming down the center line gave me a nice feeling there. I was pretty happy with that. And then coming into the corner, I could feel him get tight. So going into the shoulder in, having to work through that tension there. And kind of have to sacrifice a little bit of the angle that I wanted for what I knew he could give me. And then going into the half pass, again, when he gets nervous, he wants to throw the haunches a little forward. So just trying to get him to come through. And into our 10-meter circle. And he really has the gaits to really score super well. It's just a matter of getting him to have the confidence through his body and willing to sit and to wait on the hind leg. So into our medium trot was pretty good. Again, that will get better and better the stronger he gets. And not quite square in the halt, and then a little resistant in the reinback, but I've had worse. Always a work in progress to really get those marks. And then I've been working a lot in the walk because his walk can get very lateral. But for this extended walk, he wants to curl maybe a smidge, but he's actually doing a pretty good job. And I think I got like an 8 from one of the judges on my medium walk. And then I got a 6 on this. And then he just starts to anticipate. So I'm just trying to keep the lid on it here because he thinks we're supposed to do a movement, but in fact we're supposed to be doing medium walk. I'm not supposed to trot until C. So what you didn't see was there's a fair amount of jigging that happened there. And then coming into the shoulder in to the right, which is his weaker side. And again, it's not the first time I've had a horse that's had a fair amount of tension in the dressage ring. It just takes, getting them stronger, getting them making sure they're comfortable, and then having them learn that it's okay and to take a breath in the dressage ring. He had a fairly good crossover in the half pass. And then our 10-meter circle. And into the canter. That was a nice transition. I got a pretty good mark for that. And then medium across the diagonal. This can be fairly difficult because then the horses want to pop and pop the lead, which I felt he wanted to pop and do a switch flying change, but I was able to hold him, and so then his resistance was to shake the head. And then you pick up the canter, and then you immediately go into canter walk, which I got a good canter walk. And I tried to prepare and get him for the left lead, but he wanted to pop into the right, so then I said no, and then we had that little glitch there. So then coming into the left lead canter walk, kind of blows through it into the trot, and then he halts, and then he's stuck off my leg, and then we canter. So again, all of that is just getting him on my aids and getting him to relax and get rid of the tension monsters. But again, work in progress. Then we have our stretch canter. Didn't really give too much stretch through there. And then our final medium across the diagonal. And then I wanted to make sure I had enough time to bring him back so he felt balanced. And into the trot. And then down the center line. So again, this test was just having to deal with a lot of the tension and trying to keep a lid on it. We ended up getting a 36.6, I believe, which that put us in 11th place. And then going into show jumping, which it's really nice to, feel confident on the horse going into show jumping. So this is a bit his forte. And again, you'll see he has the titanium mask on. He has a pretty good horse traffic phobia, which he's gotten a lot better with, or insecurity rather. And I found that it really helps him stay relaxed in the warm up with the other horses. And then he just made this round feel like a nice equitation round. This was fairly easy for him. And he has such a good jump, and he's a very, very powerful horse. Comes through the double. Jumps that really nicely. I mean, he's just so fun to ride in the show jump. And it really has helped my confidence, and that leads to helping the other horses as well. When you have such good show jumpers like Kaz. Coming into the triple bar. And then to the outside line, which this is in a 5. You see, I just make sure I always shave off my corners because I want to make sure that I'm inside the time. So riding more towards the inside standard. And then coming down the final line. And he does this super well. Really easy, nice round for him. Really set the day. So that was a really nice feeling coming into the last fence. So really happy with him. That moved us up a couple of places and then on to cross country. And then for Kaz on the cross country, just really again working on rideability and being able to have our pace going forward and not losing the rideability. So here I'm going to go out of focus for a little bit. And then coming into view. And also working on making sure I'm able to keep his gallop up. So then the balance feels easy. Very similar to how I can go on Sharpie in the very steady pace because his balance stays up. But if their balance gets more on the forehand, you always feel like you have to readjust. Now coming into this combination, he was really good there. Lots of horses were losing their focus and spooking on that round bale, which he did a little bit, but he listened to me. And then cruising up here, I'm kind of saying, hey, come back a little bit here because I have a turning question to this pretty vertical log that was on a drop. He's very quick-footed, so I can ride that pretty confidently. And then coming, you can't really see this, but you kind of have to do a turn back to a right-handed corner. And again, the scope this horse has is just, he has a lot of scope. And coming to this coffin, yeah, it kind of took a longer shot than I would have liked there. But again, he's so quick-footed, I got away with it. I should have had a little bit more of a coffin canter, a little bit better shape and roundness to the canter. And now coming down, this is a very steep hill down to this water complex. So I'm working on making sure he's staying on the hind end. You see, he likes to argue a little bit. But he's a good boy once he sees it. He's a very brave horse. No problem. In and out really nicely. And then going up, we go through the woods where you can't see us. Drop down to a big ditch and wall. And then coming around to this, he's starting to get maybe a little bit tired just because there's some good hills. And so I'm trying to get him balanced here for this turn so he can see it. And then he slips, and he did such a good job to stay on his feet. I was really pleased with that. It's always a delicate balance between how much stud to put and how big a stud, how small a stud. And still, with the two new horses, I'm still figuring them out as we go along. And then coming to this kind of combination, which is very much down the hill, but he was really good, waited, saw it. I was pleased with how that felt. And then coming to this last kind of table, it slips a little bit off the turn there. And then we go into our last jump. We ended up with 11.2 times, so we weren't the fastest, but we weren't the slowest, so I was pretty happy with how he went. And we ended up moving into 6th place, so I was really pleased with Kaz and kind of the progress that we're making, so really excited for him for the future.